Three, two, one. What's happening, everyone, and welcome back to the greatest podcast you've never even heard of. This is MCPodcasting, episode 146.
You're good at remembering it.
Boom. Conor McMenamin, Stephen. How was it?
Really good, yeah.
Good.
Really good chat. Another football talk.
Good lad, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Funny
Really
as well.
sound, yeah.
So,
Good chat.
if anyone doesn't know, Conor McMenamin is a professional footballer. He plays for Glentoran in the Irish League. Recently sold his soul and he left Glenville. He left Glenville. Left Glenville, where he spent 2.5 years, and he recently joined Glentoran. So we just chatted about football,
His career,
his time at Glenville and all too.
A wee bit about Super League.
Wee bit about European Super League as well, and he gives his views upon it and why he kind of his views upon it, disagrees with it and shit. But it was a good chat, and I hope you enjoy.
You are now listening to MCPodcasting.
We got to me.
Yes, lads.
There he is.
Hell, mate, how's things?
How's it going?
What's happening? All good?
What do you think about the Irish League this season stuff? I know Glentoran are sitting, was it third in it? They're 1 point off second. Do you think it's been a good series?
It's been good enough since I think the start they had was terrible, and I think they won one game in the first 9 or something. So considering that, even if you had a half decent start of the season, it would have been a lot different. But coming from where we came from, like to where we're sitting now, it's all right. It's not great, but we'll obviously look to try and challenge Linfield for the league next year. Yeah,
I know, because you're 9 points off Linfield, isn't it? 3 games to go.
Yeah, we're 9 points off. At the end of the day, I always said the best team wins the league, and they've been the most consistent. So that they'll deserve to win the league, and next year we'll obviously just try and give it our best shot.
Yeah. So, what's it like for you this season? Like, no playing with no fans. Has it been a weird season for yourself?
Yeah, it's been mad. It's hard to get used to. Like I say, especially big games when you play the likes of Linfield, or you play Crusaders or Cliftonville. Anybody, there's always big crowds at them. That when you go to play them, it's not the same. Even because I've been out injured lately, even watching it, they don't have the same intensity, the right feeling. It's weird all around, and the sooner they're back, the better.
Yeah.
What's your injury, mate? How long are you out for?
I've been out the last 6 weeks now. I've done my ligaments in my foot. It's a weird injury. I don't not many's heard of it. I didn't even hear about it before until it happened to me. But look, I've got my boots back on last week and a bit of running, so hopefully I'm not too far away from coming back.
You reckon you'll play before the end of the season?
Yeah. I'll play whether it holds out or not. I'll try anyway. Like I say, and hopefully it's all good. But yeah, I want to try and get back, especially Irish Cup and all now, and then to help the team try and get second and get European football next year.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we need to talk about the elephant in the room, Conor. Me and Stephen being Glenville fans, we got to talk about your time at Glenville. You know what I mean? So you were there for 2.5 years, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2.5 years, nearly 3 years. Yeah.
And how was? See, looking back now in hindsight, did you enjoy your time at Glenville?
Best ever. Brilliant. I loved it, and I have a lot of time. I have a lot of time. Still a lot of good friends there. And, even now when I'm not there, I'd still meet up with boys and still go and have a beer or go out and chat away to people all the time. It's great, and I can't thank Paddy enough. Paddy's turned my career around. If it wasn't for him, God knows where I would be. I wasn't even really playing under Barry Gray, and then he came in. So I owe Paddy a lot. I know the club a lot. And to be fair, when the whole transfer saga was happening, that the club were honest with me, and Jared and Paddy had meetings with me, and they said, if they got the money that they were looking for, then they would let me go. But if they didn't, then I have to understand that they have to do what's best for Kimbo. But I just wanted to try full-time football, but look, still to this day, it's like the best days of my career has been at Glenville. Some of the goals were scored big games, playing in, when the County Antrim Shield, they were all great crack, and it was like playing with your mates. You just get it with such a special bond, and I think now, especially now, because you can't really do much when you come into a new club at Glentoran. There's no real team bond. There's you go in, you go train, and you go home because of COVID. There's not. Yeah. There's no really, you can't do anything. Whereas at Kimbo, when we were maybe in a good win the Saturday, you went out and had a few beers, or you could do life was normal. Yeah, life is normal, and it's different, but it's like I say, it's our job now, and getting up every day and going to play football is great. But
you nearly went to Larne, wasn't it? That was close. Obviously, that was the
the deal was done to Larne. Before I was supposed to sign for Larne on the Friday night, and then a bid was rejected on Saturday morning, and then I wasn't supposed to play for Kimbo on the Saturday. Kimbo played Glen Abbott, and I was speaking to Jared, and Jared had told me that the deal is 99% done to Larne. Like, that's you, and I was like, right, and then it fell through. He rejected a bid last minute, and then the saga so I ended up didn't even want to play against Glen Abbott on the Saturday, so Paddy put me on the bench, and because my head wasn't in it, obviously I was going to move somewhere, and I wasn't there, and so when that did happen, and then on the Sunday the deal was done to Larne on Sunday morning, and then Glentoran just came in, and I spoke to Glentoran on Friday, and Larne Cliftonville gave me permission to speak to both clubs, and then just after that I spoke to both clubs, and I agreed with Larne, and then Glentoran came back, and they offered me a better deal, and it was closer to home, and then I sat down and as Sunday went on, I just edged towards Glentoran.
So you mentioned there, but like you wanted to play football full time. That's something like I had no clue about. I assumed most of the Irish League was kind of professional. That's something Joe Gorman. We were talking to Joe Gorman a few weeks ago, and he alluded to that there as well. So Glenville aren't actually full time, no.
No, like I say, like everybody has jobs there, and I was assistant social worker, so I was working in Kildare surgery, and I was finishing at 5 o'clock and then going straight to training for 6, bringing my gear with me. And then, and then unless obviously we were off on a Saturday, but you were there Monday night, Tuesday night, Thursday night. 3 days out of your 5 working, you were heading straight from work straight to Belfast, which Belfast is an hour away or so from me. So I wasn't maybe getting home to 9:30, 10 o'clock, 3 nights from 9 o'clock in the morning starting work. So now, it's night and day because I can just focus on football. I get up in the morning, like if we're playing tomorrow night, I can relax around the house. I can prep well. I can, it's night and day, and it's obviously you're getting up, even going training, you're getting up and doing something you love doing.
Yeah, that's something that like some fans don't consider, because obviously you were a fan favorite of Glenville. All the Glenville fans loved you. Like, so when the news broke that you were leaving, like obviously personally I was gutted, like I was raging. But then when you look at it on a human level, like you're obviously going to do your dream, play football full time. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't think like that there, or don't really consider that. They kind of just see you leaving Glenville and going to a rival club in Glentoran and kind of getting annoyed at you, and probably I'm sure they probably sent you some shit messages, like, but like when you look in the face of it all, actually you're doing your dream. I'm sure that was your dream growing up as a kid, to play football full time.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like people close to me and people who know the truth, like when that first meeting I had with Jared and Paddy, he said to me, "We're like, look, there's 5 clubs in for you here. All of them are Crusaders, Derry City, Larne, Glentoran. They were all in for me, and they were all full time." And I was like, Jared was like, "You wouldn't want to leave?" And I was like, "No, I love it here." I was like, "But like, I have a chance to go, still be at home, still be around my wee girl, still and play full time football," which people only think that like a few years ago when I first played in the Irish League, it was only really you'd only play at full time in England. You'd have thought it was in England or down south even, but to be full time so close to home and in your own league, obviously it was an opportunity I wanted to try, and it was hard leaving Kimbo, but at the end of the day, times move on, and I moved on to try and better myself, and hopefully being full time I can become a better player.
I definitely as well. So there's no players at Glenville who are full time, no? Do all y'all have our jobs? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like we all had jobs, and
that's tough. Like,
Glenville was just part time, and I think that's, and then like I always said, it's so hard for the teams. Like when I was at Glenville, see if you're playing every day, if you're playing against full time teams, you can beat them in one-off games, no bother. But like over a course of a 38-game season, people who are like getting the best recovery, getting the best training every day, eating the right foods, getting everything made from it, it's going to be hard to try and top them in the league. Like, yes, one-off match, anybody can beat anybody, but over a long distance, over a league campaign, it's so hard for part-time to compete with full-time. Like,
yeah, and I think you got to give Glenville and other teams credit for that there, because Glenville do always compete, and obviously other teams compete who are part-time, but like Glenville are always up and about there. You know what I mean? And even like a couple of years ago, obviously they had like Liam Boyce and Joe Gorman up front and actually won the league twice. Like that was some achievement actually looking back on it.
Unreal. Like I always said it. Like when we were at Climble, anybody who we played against, especially at Solitude, we fancied to beat them. Doesn't matter whether it was Linfield, Glentoran, anyone. If Solitude's a hard place to go and play, and if any time we went out there to win. Like we never thought it was like we're up against it here, or we'll settle for a draw. Any of our time there, we went to win games, and it's like I say that there's some great players there. Their squad's really really good, and I watched the game on Saturday, and I thought Glentoran were the better side. The whole game they deserved to go through. Climble didn't really cause too much problems, but I guess that's not everybody can have an off day. But like I say, in cup football, you're only one moment away from being knocked out, or a wrong decision or something can go against you. So the game is never dead the whole way. You're always a bit nervous leading in the last few minutes, but Climble will do really well under Paddy McLaughlin, like in the team there. They're very good.
Are you busting the play in that game? I'm sure you were.
I was in a way, like just to play against the boys and stuff again. But then at the same time, when we played them at the Oval, I think it was my home debut for Glentoran, and we played Cliftonville, and then Brainy took me down for the penalty. he got sent off, but I remember like when I took it round and he tackled me, like I burst out laughing because me and Guy would be really good mates, and even still now, and he was texting me going, I can't wait to bust you and all the more, and the crack was brilliant. And then when he done it, I just burst out laughing. Then when he gets sent off, I was like, oh Jesus, so we had a bit of banter about it. But like I say, I've made friends for life there, and like I say, once the 90 minutes is over, like we'll just draw a line under it.
Is it hard playing against players you used to play with, because they probably know your wee tricks and all they know exactly what you like to do, cut in the left hand side or something out there? Is it harder?
Yeah, well, that's always the way, or always in your mind. Like you train with them boys, they know everything that's good about you, they know everything that's bad, and then you have like Liam Bagnall, who's like, I love playing with him, and then you have him punching and nipping you and kicking you, and you're not playing with him, and you're laughing at him. I was like, leave me alone, will you? The ball doesn't hear me. I think you're standing all over me. Yeah, but what a guy he is. Bags, I love him to bits. He's good out crack, and I still talk to him now. But just having like even players that, like I say, you're so used to playing with, then you're playing against, or they're marking you. It's different, hard. Yeah, but it is, and like I say, I didn't even hit the penalty against them. It was like, I was like, here, somebody else hit that penalty. It's a bit too soon. It's too soon.
But like, so was it easy for you to settle in Glentoran? You kind of said there that it's kind of hard because you can't really socialise with the other players. But obviously, the two Donnelly brothers are there, so it kind of made it a bit easier for you, didn't it?
Yeah, as I say, I knew them, and Elliot Marsh was there the last time I was there, and Marcus Kane. I knew a few boys were already there, and even before I signed, Marcus Kane, the captain, and Elliot Marsh were ringing me, and telling me about the club and what it was like at the minute, and the difference from I was there till the last time I was there, and they said, it's night and day, and it's a lot more professional and everything. So I knew them, and the boys all made me feel welcome, and it's been great. Like I said, it's like anything, it's like being the new kid at school first. It takes you a while to settle in. It takes you a while to get to know people, their personalities, and but I'm well settled in now. I've been there long enough now, and like I said, the boys are all great.
Yeah, we were talking to Joe Gorman a few weeks ago, and he actually said that Glentoran tried to buy him. I was thinking it was in January or last season sometime. So obviously, Roy Donnelly, Jay Donnelly, yourself. Now you're trying to buy Joe Gorman. Fuck me, is this Glentoran trying to buy the whole Climble team?
Leave them alone.
Yeah, listen, I always said Joe's the best striker in the league. He's a disgrace. He's so good. Yeah, and of course, I think I remember like ringing him in January, and I was like talking to him about like, it's like, look, these clubs are coming in for me, blah blah blah. That's how he feels every transfer window, probably. And I'm like, what do I do here? Do I answer? Do I not? And, me and him are laughing about it, but Joe's one of my best friends now. Even I don't even play with him now, and I was up in his house last week, and we were talking, and we were having a beer together, and I talk to him all the time. you know, and I built a really good relationship with him. And to be fair, like I say, I'm not just being bad, but his goals speak for itself. He's phenomenal, you know, and the sooner he's back for Kimbo, the better. Yeah.
Yeah, no, yes, he's a nice guy. When we talk to him, like honestly, a total gentleman. Like, well, there's one game in particular I want to talk to you about, and I think it's your only actually trophy you won at Glenville. It was the County Antrim Shield Final.
That's right. Yeah.
I was actually at that game in over in Winter Park, and that was some game. Like, was it as frantic playing it as it was watching it?
It was. We were so bad. I don't know how we won that game.
That's what I was thinking.
You know,
at one point,
it was like I felt like if we were playing all night, we were never going to score. Like I was like, oh my god, Ballymena were better than us. Just like we just didn't show up. We didn't play. And then I remember I think the ball came into the box, and I turned and hit a shot. The keeper panned it out, and he come on and he tapped it into the net. And I was thinking, happy days with half an hour because we go to extra time here. At least we can try and win it. Little did I know, 30 seconds later, a minute later, we were going to, 2-1 up, and it was Kearney scored a great goal. Yeah, I was mad, and I remember looking up into the top stand at Windsor, and it was packed, and everybody was going nuts, and then we, it was like I say, to win your first trophy together as a group since Paddy came in, it was class, and it was unreal. And seeing, like I always say, Kimbo supporters are amazing. They always sing, and they're always following us in big numbers. They were class, and to play for them was unreal. I love the atmosphere they created, and then went back up to the social after.
Aye.
It was packed, and it was a Tuesday night. And I remember saying to my boss, she was like to me, "Well, are you going to be in tomorrow?" I was like, "Look, just check BBC News the scoreline. If we win, I'm off, and if we lose, I'll be in." So, and then we went back to the social, and then all the boys went there, because that's what it was. We all had our jeans and our t-shirts and all with us, and Paddy was like, I don't want to see any of them, focus. So obviously there was all like our bags and all were all in the car, and we were all planned to go out. And then like it was like, oh fuck's sake, we're not even going to go out here. We planned to go to Thompson's table and all booked. and then we scored and we went back. And obviously back to the social club with the fans, and then we ended up getting the taxi, all the players into Thompson's, and then I think it was maybe didn't get out of Thompson's, that maybe 3 or 4 they were all blocked. It was crack was brilliant. And then we rang Decky O'Hara, was like, is the social still open? He was like, aye. We were like, right, all the boys are coming back up. We're in the social, but music pumping, it was banging the scenes, putting the things and all into the scenes. It was nuts. It was some crack. But that's the day, like I always say, that's the things you remember. Looking back, you're going, they were the best days. They were class. And I remember beating Glentoran in the playoff final to get to Europe.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And Joe scored an extra time, and then I scored to make it 2-0. And I remember like the sun was shining, and we all went, like we were all sitting after in the social. It was crack, was brilliant. Everybody, team bonding, getting together out for it was class. You don't even realize how good it is till you probably sit here now and you go, can't even go for a beer for a while there. You're like, Jesus, them days were unreal.
Exactly. I was at that final, and it was amazing because that was like the last game I went to with fans there, because was that in like February or March, wasn't it? Before COVID?
I think it was end of January, start of February or something. Yeah, it might have been.
And as you said, like the actual images of the fans, how packed they were and all too, is amazing. But like that does just seem so weird now, the idea of all these fans being in the same place and all too. So looking back, and I'm so glad actually, because I almost didn't go to that there. I was like midweek. It was like a Tuesday one or some shit. And I was working. I was like, I can be annoyed going out there, and like the whole game, I was sitting there. This is the worst I've ever seen Glenville play. But thank God, it's almost going home at one point.
But that's the thing. Like that's why I always say about club football, it's so hard because you can play really well and get beat, or you can play absolutely terrible like we done and won.
Yeah,
it's like we literally had two chances the whole 90 minutes in the last 5 minutes and scored both of them. I remember actually Lecky, they were 1-0 up, and Lecky dinked the keeper and he hit the bar. It could have been 2-0, game over, and you go down the pitch and you make it 1 each, and then momentum swings. But like playing in a final, you need crowds there. I think it's even like I had said on Saturday, if Kimbo were playing Glentoran, that oval the way in would have been packed. All Kimbo supporters, Glentoran would have packed it out. Proper Irish Cup feeling, like, whereas the oval, there's nobody in it. The atmosphere is it's terrible. There's nothing there, and hopefully we're coming out the end of it now.
Yeah. Do you think you're someone who actually like thrives off the supporters. I know some people can be a bit daunting. I know some like Clinville fans can be quite harsh with you sometimes and all too. But do you think the fans being there kind of helps you play?
Yeah, like I say, you know, you have one shouting at you, calling you useless, get at him or let him have it. You know, that's all part.
Fans are famed for their patience. Like,
you know, and then you know you're running down that side at Solitude, and they're all, you know. I remember like any player we played against down underneath the old stand where the social is, the abuse them boys get from the other teams, you know. But that's all part and parcel of it, and I love it. And then, like I say, if you score a goal, if you do something, and the fans are there, and you can see them all going mad, and that's what makes it. Like, yeah, but definitely, if it was me, I would rather. That's why I play football. You play football to play in front of big crowds, the big games like Boxing Day, you know, for Clinville's Cruise. You know, Linfield, Glentoran, Boxing Day. They're the best games because they're the most people, the most fans at them.
Yeah, but see, even in that County Antrim Shield Final, you played a part in the last goal as well, if I can remember, because I don't know if you miscontrolled it, but someone kind of threw it off you, and it kind of fell to Karen, didn't it? Is that what happened?
That's why.
It's a great assist.
No, I actually the ball. I think it was Tom crossed it again, and I took a touch and went to shoot, and your man blocked it, and it just fell to Kearney on the edge of the box, and he curled it into the bottom corner. As soon as it left his foot, it was like the longest shot ever. I was like, it's just trickling in. I was like, what's going on here? I was like, no way. And then I seen it trickling into the corner. I couldn't believe it.
Oh, fucking amazing. Something feeling like. But here, since you're on, and you're obviously a professional footballer now, what's your take on the European Super League? That's something we got to talk. It would be stupid if we didn't bring it up to you. You know,
I think it's mad. I think it's crazy. Like, you know, it's a bit like that American football. Then you can understand like if you own Barcelona or if you own Real Madrid and you're in big debt and there's boys offering you silly money to do something, but I think it takes away from it. See, like that American football, there's no relegation or there's no, you know, like I say, the people high up, or if you want to do well, you want to qualify for the Champions League, you want to play in it. You don't want to just play in a league where, you know, one team gets rewarded for winning it, but if you finish last, sure, nobody cares. You know, go again next year. Yeah. I think that's all. Even like, you know, even as far as that's like 12 teams in the Irish League just saying, right, it's just use 12, play against each other every year. Well, what'll be the point in the other teams playing? You know, or what are they getting out of it? It's just killing everything, but. It's not looking like it's going to happen now anyway, does it?
I know, that's a good thing. You think about it as well, because even if, I know it's probably a far stretch to say that like Glentoran are going to challenge for the Europa League or like, you know, get into the Champions League, but there is that possibility in there when you think about it, like, because if Glentoran if he's going to run next season, win the league, you just get a chance to qualify for the Champions League, you know, and like,
yeah, and that's the thing, like,
that's so big.
Or Linfield, Linfield missed out by a goal, Quarabag there. I think it was like 2 years ago, maybe. Like they missed out in goal difference or something by our one goal to get to the group stages.
Yeah.
And then you look at like Shamrock Rovers, Dundalk last year getting Arsenal in the group stages. You know,
yeah,
that's reward for getting there. And I think, you know, that now that the teams are the likes of Linfield and Glentoran and Larne and Crusaders are all going full time, obviously increases your chances of doing better when Europe comes around. Whereas, you know, I remember like playing in the Europa League class. So I remember doing it for Kimbo. I've done it for Glentoran as well when I was younger. But I remember that even like going away, we went to Denmark with Kimbo, went to Norway. You know, places like you would never go.
Yeah.
You know, and then you find yourself out there, and the supporters were there. I remember being in Denmark with Kimbo, and there was like 300 Kimbo supporters went. And after the game, we all went down to the Irish bar after.
Yeah.
But Barry Gray was like, look, we obviously had to go down and have a drink with the fans and all, blah, blah, blah. I think it was daylight. It was the next morning. We were still sitting outside the bar. people were going to work and all, sitting 7 o'clock in the morning in Denmark outside some Irish bar. You know,
yeah,
class.
That's
brilliant.
That's it. That's why you play football for. Well, not really the drink, but you know, to get them experience and travel around the world and see these different countries.
Yeah, like we went to Faroe Islands. You know, we went to Norway, like I said, and Haugesund, like in wee places I've never been to. I went to Slovakia with Glentoran, like countries unless you get them in Europe or something, like I say, a draw like that, you would never go to. So they all add the experience. I'm playing against, like I remember for Glentoran, we played against Selena, a team in Slovakia, and the big lad Klincic from, I think he's centre half for Inter Milan now. Spurs bid something like 70 million for him.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
In the summer there, and we played against him. You know, you're like,
was he good?
That same boy. I scored against him. I just had that same boy. that same boy. He, and then you're going, and then they had the captain of Slovakia, and I remember we played them, and then it was the Euros, maybe 2016 Euros or something. No, it would have a bit longer than that actually. And he was captain of Slovakia. Their centre midfielder was, you know, when you were watching him in the Euros, and you were like, you played against him 2 months ago.
Yeah.
That's kind of, we get that feeling because we went to school with Roy Donnelly and all, and we're like, we played against Roy Donnelly. So that's just the equivalent for us. I remember putting the ball through his legs in the playground.
He wasn't that good, was he?
No, but that's things, you know, and that, like, at the end of the day, we're all on the same boat. And we play against, you know, some players you play against, you don't know the name of them, and you're like, oh, he was unreal, and then you keep an eye out for him, and you see maybe, you know, I think that team we played in Norway, I think Joe actually, when Joe was at Peterborough, the boy was on loan from West Ham that played for that team in Norway, and so Joe knew him, and then they swapped shirts and all together, and they're like, what's the chances of us getting in the Europa League? Like, Joe played with them maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
But even a couple of years ago, or I was speaking 7-8 years ago, when Kimbo played Celtic in the qualifying for the Champions League, like shit like that doesn't happen, like unless it's a friendly, like, but to play Celtic at Solitude in a competitive game is just fucking ridiculous, like, and if your team could ever happen, that situation would never happen then. That's how I said, like, for them boys, like, that's a dream come true. Like, you couldn't have, like, I don't know, if you took that away, that's what we're talking about. If you take that away, like, how Crusaders playing against Wolves at Seaview last year, you know, you're like that's unreal. But like for Kimbo to play against Celtic, like I'd give anything to even be on the bench, even just to come on, do something, to see something, you know, a fixture of a lifetime. And that's why, like, when you get into the Europa League draws and there's a chance of getting any big team, you want it to happen. Like Shamrock Rovers getting AC Milan last year. Like, if only there was fans allowed in there, like Ibrahimovic coming to Shamrock. Play against Shamrock. You know, it's class. Like, it's stuff like you think you only happen in FIFA. Yeah. But you also want to, like, challenge yourself and compete with these players to see the difference sometimes, because sometimes it's hard to actually measure the difference between Irish League and Premier League, or, like, you know, Championship and all too. So you want to see the differences. That's something that Joe Gorman told us when he moved from Irish League and went to the Peterborough here in League One. He says the difference was something shocking. Like, every player was just amazing. And when you think of Peterborough, you don't think of Peterborough being good or having good players. It just shows you how good they actually are, even to be at that level.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like anything I always say, you know, like, people who like play amateur football in this country, in the amateur league, all go, here, I watch your man for Cliftonville or Glen. He's not that great, but the standard's night and day. And like, it's the same going from like Irish League to, like Joe says, League One. It's all right. Well, if there's League One match on Sky tonight, I'm sitting with the feet up with a cup of tea, you're going, that boy's terrible, the cut of him. He's 10 times better than me, you know. But it's easy just sitting there and it looks bad, or, you know, you go, well, he can do this, or that's not great. But as you go up the levels, like that night, like especially that night out in Norway, for Cliftonville, they beat us 1-0 at Solitude, and we went out to Norway, and I scored after like 35 minutes, put us 1-0 up, and we were all like, I run to the corner, like everybody were like, right, slow down and all. And there's like maybe like 15, 20,000 in the stadium. We were like all like burst out laughing. We're like, we have a chance here. Like, this is mad. And then second half, decked us, beat 5-1, never touched the ball. But like, you know, you're like, we have a chance. Like, this is mad. But it's the experiences, like, they're just different level. Like, and that's that team in Norway. Like, I don't even think they were top of the league. You know, they weren't even the best team in Norway. And like, let's say second half, we're chasing shadows, never touched the ball.
I always say that, like, because, like, as I said, because we played against like Roy Donnelly in school and all too, and he was really good, obviously. But like, I'm like, imagine playing against, like, if I would say with the likes of like a Wayne Rooney or something like Ronaldo. How was you even getting near the ball? Were you even getting a touch of the ball? Like, I would, like, yeah, I think you probably would. You know what I mean? Like, how hard it actually would be, like, because. We say we play against you, Connor. You play skin the life out of us. Nah. Probably, yeah. Then we play against like Ronaldo. Out of us. Yeah, Flan elbow. Like, you play against Ronaldo or fucking like Bruno Fernandes. Like, there's no even point of even competing. I think sometimes people forget how good even to be at that level or be on the bench in a League One game is something to be proud of. It's so fucking hard. Like you can get to that level.
Big time, like that's I say, them boys over there, it's crazy, and like yourself, like if somebody like if United are playing tonight and somebody has a bad game, you go on to Twitter and people are he useless, he's this and that, but you're like going, geez, how good actually must they be compared to us, like, or compared to the levels night and day.
A good example is probably like Jesse Lingard, for Man United. Like last few seasons for Man United, he's been absolutely brutal to the point where we even quit. Like, how the hell is he a professional footballer? Goes to West Ham. Yeah. He's like one of the top goal scorers in the league now since he joined there. You know what I mean? So obviously, they're all good.
Yeah, the thing is, like, no matter what level you play at, I always say that like confidence is like if you have confidence, like you'll do things, that you'll try things, you'll take balls and tie it, like. You're just a different player. Like if your confidence is rock bottom, like which was he obviously was. Obviously, the reason he's at United is because there's a player in him. Mm-hmm. But if your confidence is just rock bottom, and there's nothing you can do, is going to try and turn it, or you can't. You're not. Anytime you're playing bad. But like if you have it like a light switch, West Ham goes it, and now he's lighting it up like, and he's been unbelievable.
Like. Even the obviously if we play 5-a-side football or whatever, and like you can go 1 week and you can play really well, and then the next week you can be awful, and you can't even put your finger on why was I shite? Why could I not even control the ball tonight? And last week it was class. I was like, I just don't understand that. I'm sure you even experienced that as playing full-time football. You're like, I can't even put on my finger why I'm not even playing well at the minute.
That's the thing, yeah. And when it comes to anything like tonight, like I could walk out there training tonight and everything you hit was into the net, and you're like, fuck, that's really good tonight. I go in the morning, couldn't hit a barn door, had to put everything over. It's just the way it is, it's like anything, and that's why, like you said, we're all the same, no matter what level you play at. Nobody's ever going to, and that's why the best is the best, because they play the most consistent every week, and they do the best, and that's something like the preferred Paddy McLaughlin always used to say at the Ulster Clintonville. He said, the best players perform week in, week out, because it's the hardest thing to do. Anybody can play well 1 week or play well in a few games a year or do it all go up and down. It's just the best just remain at that top level for every time they play. Like their standards are just so good.
But it's also the way we view footballers, don't we? Like especially like the big like Premier League and Champions League and all too. We don't even view them as people anymore. We view them as animals now, don't we? Like even like you forget, even like you moving to Glentoran, obviously you're playing in Belfast for Clintonville, but obviously that probably was a tough transition for you to do because you're moving club, your whole routine's different. Now you're full time, it's a bit more pressure on you now. So, it'd be normal for you to actually maybe have a few bad games at the start, but if you do that, then the Glentoran fans will be watching you, kind of like, what the fuck's Conor doing? He's been playing shit. Get rid of him and all too. Like we forget there's the human aspect.
Hopefully they don't think that. Man.
Hopefully they don't think that. Like we don't even consider that he's an actual person anymore. It was the same as
that. Yeah, like I to prefer like when the first meeting, one of the first meetings I had, the gaffer now Mick, he said like pulled me into his office and he was like, "Me, look, Conor, like you're coming here with a price tag now, and he's like, fans are going to want you to hit the ground running and all, and blah blah blah." He says, "But if you don't, I just want you to know we believe in you. The reason we brought you here is because you're a good player." But thankfully, like like you say, see if you go 3-4 games without scoring or playing really bad, and then maybe like click on the Facebook or Twitter and somebody, what they buy out for, boy, for he's useless, or get him back and all, blah blah blah. But that's, but you know what I mean. It happens all over at any club you're at. If you're not doing well or a new signing, and like you say. For me, like moving to a different club, like a new kid in school, but for some of them people, they're moving countries, they're moving everything. They don't even speak the language. They don't even speak the language, and you're like, even boys in art, like we have Herboy Plunder from Croatia. Like he's over here with his family, and they've had a wee kid there just over here, and he speaks, he can understand English, like, but he's moved his whole family over here to play football. You're like, when he finishes training, he can't ring his mate and say, "Here, do you fancy going for a coffee or do you fancy going for lunch?" He's no side. He's no one else here. Like he has to make new friends here. He's obviously with us as well, but because of COVID, we can't do anything, and we just go in and go home. But it must be hard for players to get, yeah.
Yeah, it seems like even Joe was saying, but like him moving to Peterborough and all too. A lot of people look back at him and think he's a flop because he didn't make it in for Peterborough. But there's so much things play a part. He got that bad injury within the first month of the season, not to, and he was away from home, and his girlfriend was living back in Belfast, not to. Like, people don't consider that because we don't treat them as humans anymore. We kind of just treat them as assets, or kind of like people on TV, you know?
Yeah. And like I say, he's maybe like I remember Joe saying to me, finished training maybe 1:30, 2:00, sitting like going home, sitting there by myself in the house all day. Like same thing every day, nobody around you. It's tough, but like you say, just because people say here, oh yeah, he plays football, or which is true, like we all love doing it, but at the end of the day, it still doesn't make us immune to abuse or immune to people saying he's terrible or having to go at him. But it's just the way it is, unfortunately.
All your problems are still there. There's no difference. Your job is playing football. All the problems, all the social anxiety, all that shit, it still carries with you. That's
the thing, I always said you're never going to. You can't please everybody, no matter what you do. You just can't do it. So you have your good games, you have your bad games. I think for me, like for most people anyway, it's you just sort of you get used to it. I know you probably shouldn't, but you just sort of don't try and let it affect you. Because if you do, you'll be stressed out. You'll be pulling your hair. You'll be like, "Wow, here we go again." Well, some of us like some.
Yeah, before we go, mate, I just wanted to say we play football on Tuesday night, 5-a-side. If you fancy it, just want to come over and make us look class.
Do you think I can get a game?
There's a boy there who's 50, so you might. We'll play right
on. Do nets.
So you can start with nets first, and we'll see how you are. You know what I mean?
That's what always happens. You always put him off nets, start him off in there to see how he is, and then if he's no good in nets, you get him out.
Yeah,
he's always in nets. He's really good in nets. Before you go, something we asked Joe Gorman when he was on the podcast. Who is probably the best player you ever played with, or probably a better question, who's the best player you ever played against?
Hard question. Best player I've played with. I suppose when it comes to goals, Joe would definitely be up. Like Joe's the best striker I've played with. Like it just does what it says in the tin. Like he just scores goals. No, I've played with some really good players. Remember growing up, like coming through at Linfield, there was all top players. But I suppose, like I know in Ireland, Aaron McAniff was really good when we were younger too. He's at Hearts now. He went to Shamrock Rovers there, and he's now signed for Hearts. He was good, but I remember when we played them in a friendly, Shamrock Rovers, and we never touched the ball really. But some of them teams in Europe, like I say, that boy, that captain of Slovakia at the time, he was unbelievable. So, but in Irish league terms, I would say I would always say Joe's definitely. I would put Joe up there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. No, Joe loves a wee goal, doesn't he? But but call quits there. Again, thanks so much for coming on the podcast. It's good talking to you. As I said, I'm a big fan. I was probably a bigger fan a few months ago before you left, but I'm always a big fan of watching you. You're a great player. I was annoyed when you left and raging and all too, but you're a class player. But all the best for the rest of the season, and hopefully you get back to playing, and maybe not good luck on Saturday. Maybe luck starts next week.
Thanks very much, lads. Cheers.
You are now listening to MCPodcasting.